It's academic and it's theater and a place where they both meet.
We have the audience and participants for each other.
Intellectual practices, historical practices, cultural. Everybody, please.
Examples of women sharing what it is that you do, sharing how you do that.
There's no way you can ignore Latinos anymore.
Welcome all our rooms. You can come and see and talk about.
It starts out a little thing, you write it in, you have to bring completely open.
Theater for everybody, yes, everybody.
That's just what should be done.
And indeed, my understanding of life, relationships, death, has already changed.
Survival of theater as an art form depends on that.
But there's room for it all. There's room for it all.
So thank you very much for coming to the Martin E. Segal Theater Center here at the Graduate Center CUNY. My name is Fabian Escalona. I'm the director of the program, also the curator of the festival. It's a fantastic a lineup of writers from around the world. It is most probably, or it is the most significant festival of writers, global writers in the Americas. This is of importance in itself, but we are truly honored to do this in collaboration with PEN and PEN World Voices Festival. PEN is one of the great organizations which we admire. I admire highly, and I encourage you all to participate or check out their program this week, but also their work, their Freedom to Write program, the way they often do get writers out of prison, the Writing in Prison program, but also the literary awards they give out are some of the most significant in the world. So it's a truly an inspiring organization, and it's a big, big honor for the Segal Center to be connected to it. We here bridge academia and professional theater, international and American theater. So this festival is right at the center of what we are doing. It's one of the most precious, most significant and most important things we do the entire year. We work really hard. It's over half a year of preparation. Our entire team prepares for it. Whoever has produced it, like Brooke, will know it, or Yu-Chen this year, how complex that really is. And we have 8 of the writers with us, and also today we have Anna with us here from Chile. So if you can wave over there, she flew in and also happens to be at the Watermill Center of Robert Wilson's great theater center out there in Long Island. The festival itself, I think, is coming slowly to an end, but if you can go to the program and find out some of their offerings, really, I also encourage you to participate. One of the reasons the festival was founded by Salman Rushdie and Paul Auster, and I apologize if you heard that before, but you know it is of importance, and Penn asked us also to say it was in the very first Bush government where they felt there were not enough voices heard from around the world. It was a tunnel vision already there, and it felt it was just getting longer, the tunnel, and darker, and the light further away. 95 to 96% of all books printed are from American writers or British writers, only 4 to 5% international. Of those 4 to 5%, half of it is French or German, because it is supported by the government. So you will only have 1 or 2 books out of 100 from 200 countries in the world, or many more, who really were great writers, observe, write, and engage in the aesthetic practice of writing. And as we know, how significant and important it is for identity, for learning where we come from, where we are going to, and to be entertained and know more about the meaning of life. So it is just not enough. So this festival is a great contribution, and again, for us at the Segal, it's a fantastic honor to be part of here. We have readings with professional New York actors, New York directors, and it's fantastic. I would like to thank Fabian and Jennifer, also here from the program, to connect with this, also Brooke, to we engage with the student here also at the university, and we have a big group of advisors who suggest things, so I'm glad this worked out so well, and I thank you for coming all the way and be here with us. There will be a discussion afterwards. How long will the play be, more or less? 50 minutes, 60 minutes, and then so we have really time here, and this is also part of what is really important for us. It's not a little add-on or selling a show. It's a conversation also with you for questions or for comments. So really, thank you for coming. We know it's one of the first days where it's a little bit warmer, and actually the sun is out, so it's a real sacrifice. We need good and great theater, but we also really need good and great audiences, so that means a lot for us, and it's a great sign that you all are coming. If you have a cell phone with you, just take it out for a moment, and I'll do the same and see. The sound is off. It should not ring. See if you have it. And again, thank you all. And Michael, let's go.
Thank you for coming today. So, good night and welcome. My name is Patrick Hwang, and I will be your host tonight. During the last 20 years, I have been working with AGNETHA KURTZ as her personal translator, and every occasion is a profound learning experience for the audience and for myself. I'm very honored to present to you a remarkable Chilean philosopher and performer with a research that touches live art and aesthetics in relation to space and language. AGNETHA KURTZ ROCA. Lecturer at the Berlin Institute for Linguistic Performance, director of the artistic collective Los Muertos No Respiran. Her publications have been translated into more than 30 languages. Linguist body, gesture and space, and dialectic of the Sony performer. These are some of her most relevant publications which without questions have influenced strongly the national and international discussion about and around the relevance of meaning in the arts field. Espacio linguístico. Linguistic space is the central force in this event. It's an honor to introduce your person that you said, generates space through language. Judge her for yourself today. Martin E. Seagull Theater Center has the honor to welcome to AGNETHA KURTZ ROCA. Professor Dr. AGNETHA KURTZ ROCA, we are profoundly honored to have you here with us. So I will start from the origins, your origins, as we always do it here in the Martin E. Seagull Theater Center. So where were you born?
Talca, región del Maule.
Which name appears in your ID?
AGNETHA, Consuelo, KURTZ, ROCA.
Oh, so which are your progenitors' origins?
My father was born in Austria, and my mother is Chilean of Spanish parents.
why did you return to Chile? You know, after so many years.
To share the Kurz ROCA method in search of place.
How many years did you live abroad?
30 years.
Oh. But you know, why did you leave your country, Chile? You know, it's such a beautiful nation.
Yeah, that's a difficult question. You catch me by surprise there. But I will answer. Yeah, it's never easy. Yeah. But the reasons why I left my country respond to a generational fatigue with the cultural policies of that time. Yeah. A monopoly run by sick institutions, run by the descendants of those in power. Yeah, several things. Okay. I'm not going to be kucha, as we say in Chile. Yeah. I witnessed these social dynamics closely, but I did not share them. Yeah. And I consider they did not contribute to the dialogue of the artistic establishment. Some facts, just some facts, ruined theater venues. Yeah. Only 21 projects got a Fondar, which is the national funding of the arts there. 21 in 1 year. Okay. 150 million pesos from our taxes given to court artists and art institution owned by Court Banca, a bank.
A bank.
A bank.
Okay, bank.
People buying wagons with the money of the fund. A minister of culture who has 18 consultants who work part-time and earn each 3 million pesos per month. 3 million pesos is a lot of money in Chile. Yeah? And the nephew of La Señora Bachelet working at the Culture Council. Yeah? That's it. It's sad, it's difficult.
Oh yeah.
That's it.
Okay. So last but not least, why are you here in New York City?
It's a linguistic destiny.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Patrick, for your kind introduction. Now, I will tell you, I will not look at you anymore.
Oh, sure.
Yeah? I would look at the audience.
Oh.
Because, can I get a little light for the audience? Please. Good. Yes, good. Because for me, you are the most important. Yeah, thank you. But in this hour, I will address some important issues regarding space and language in performance. I will speak in Spanish because Spanish is my Italian space. I will not surrender to English. Thank you. Aunque hace más de 30 años que no pisaba tierra chilena, para mí ese es un lugar de la memoria. ¿Ya? Pero también ese lugar está ahí, ahora. Yo me relaciono con ese lugar, me identifico, pero I'm here. Estoy aquí, yo digo, estoy aquí. Patrick es allá.
Yeah.
Ya. Agua gringa. New Yorker water is here. Ah, good. Thank you. but don't touch me. There is a gathering of water or other sources into his territorial body. It's like the ocean, it's like a lake, it's like the river. It does not matter that the water in the river moves, yeah, as it's held by the territory of which it belongs. Yeah? In the same way that, oh, did you see that? Okay, wait. This is like, okay, so it's a Korean territory, leaves the land, conquers. Did you see it? It's amazing. Yeah, it conquers New York. Space. And, okay, we are not from here. Korean territory, yeah. South American territory. Thank you.
Thank you so much. My pleasure.
This is great. Thank you so much. So, space. What is New York? Applause, applause. Ventilation. Cough. A chair moving. Fidget spinner. Fidget spinner, right? Okay. So, in this exercise, it's amazing because the Big Apple is here, and my body and my language. But what is New York? ¿Dónde está realmente Nueva York? Where is New York? En mi espacio, en mi cuerpo, en mi lenguaje. Esta es una pregunta gigante, es a huge question, la cual emerge fuertemente al momento de salir de mi tierra y pisar territorio extranjero por primera vez hace ya más de 30 años, 30 years, very long. Al llegar a Europa, dos sucesos que me marcaron profundamente, sucesos que produjeron un trauma lingüístico positivo, ¿ya? Definiendo lo que sería mi método. The first life-changing event happened when I performed my first artistic experiment. Era una jovencita de 20 años, was very new to performance, so my views and ideas were very ingenuine, very free. The experiment muy simple. Yeah. Caminar y caerse. So, like walking and falling. Right? So, about to fall, about to fall, walking and falling. That's it. Yeah. In this sense, my body left a huella, a trace, a mark on the floor. I did this anonymously and as an experiment in Berlin, in Zurich, in London. Y lo que pasó after this was something I wasn't expecting. It's humbling, it's exciting, it's beautiful to be in the cover of a magazine. But I was surprised to see that as a Chilean artist abroad, I was immediately categorized in a certain subject matter. Because I was Chilean, the critics, the audience, the population expected me to do a theater and performance that wanted to talk about dictatorship. I also noticed that the general public had a very narrow idea with very little edges of what was Chile. Leonor Varela, Los Mineros, Alexis Sanchez, Pinochet, a woman president, yeah. So this first event defined my method. I realized that my origin made me into an artistic racial sign. Yeah? It's like an example. A market in Rotterdam. Yeah? A box. Chilean walnuts. Nueces chilenas, an export product. A Chilean flag on the box. Yo.
You, right?
Yeah, me, yeah.
You.
Good. Y agua holandesa, Dutch water.
What about?
Dutch water, yeah. All of these dimensions together, territory, origin, myself, the water, yeah. Okay. El segundo suceso, the second event that marked my method was when the Horse Trotters company invited me to perform in Macbeth. The good times, do you remember?
Yeah, I remember this.
Yes, this is the Horse Trotters company.
I took it, right?
You took the photo, I think, right?
Yeah.
Patrick, do you remember the woman that did the lightning design? What was her name? You and her became really good friends.
Woman?
A
Oh,
little surprise there. You're so free there. Good times. We had good times.
right.
Yeah? Anyway, I did not find very original to do Macbeth, but okay. It was an important opportunity for my career and for a land, but obviously Chilean subject, text in English, language that was difícil for me at that time. I was afraid to perform. Tenía miedo, yeah? So as a young artist, I had to return to my first master, Miriam Palacios, que en paz descanse. Yeah? I resorted, look, Miriam. I resorted to her poetics in search for acting tools and artistic procedures. The complexity of her craft as a vocal power sign, I thought would help me to perform in another language. I took up her technique, which I humbly called a vocal baroque as political sound gesture. Barroco vocal como gesto político sonoro. Yeah. For your understanding, I will perform sound dramatic Chilean play by David Benavente and Raúl Osorio, Tres Marías y una Rosa. Can you help me?
Yep.
Okay. I turn my back to the juice there. Señora Marujita, ¿tiene agua? Estos perros se creen chorizo que andan a la ciudaduna. ¡Se juegan, perro de mierda! ¡Salgan de aquí! ¡Estoy cabreada de ver el perro, oiga! Anoche, ya no habíamos acostado ya cuando de repente me ruido. ¡Chuta! Me levanto y lo primero que atino a agarrar el carnet porque con el Mario no acostumbramos a dormir con el carnet al lado. Parto para la media calle para ver cuál era cuando siento un ruido en la cocina. Porque hace un día que no estaban robando la comida. ¡Levántate, Mario, y trae una pistola que aquí en la cocina están robando unos hueones! Ahí me levanté, recordé que el Mario andaba buscando pega en Argentina, oye. ¿Y qué iba a hacer? Apechugar. De una sola patada abrí la puerta de la cocina, prendí la luz. ¿Y quién anda ahí, mierda? ¿Conmigo un vasito de agua tiene, por favor? 5 gatos de parecían ternero bien criado. Me pasa uno por aquí, el gato volado, chucha. Otro que sale comiéndose la comida dentro de la olla, el desgraciado, y yo que creí que eran los cabros que se mandaban en la noche a comer. Como nunca me acuerdo. Cuando veo que el más grande me está mirando todo engrifado sin pestañear. ¡Miau! Se me tira encima, le hago el quito y lo aprieto contra la pared. ¡Gol, mierda, rigor! Nada. Pero un rebote con tan buena suerte que alcanzo a agarrarle la cola y yo empiezo a dar vuelta con el helicóptero. ¿Se acuerda el helicóptero que venía en la noche con la oración? Ahí quedó el gato. Medio chico para afuera. Ahí entra el rey de la pelea con un palo, igual que su padre. ¡Agarre el escudo, usted me dijo! Y entre los dos precisamos variar el gato, la sangre chorreaba. Los cabros chicos, mamita, mamita. ¿Es it clear? So, therefore, I resorted to use my master technique in the monologue of Lady Macbeth with the Horse Trotters Company. Can I get like a light, small, just me, just me, like Shakespeare? The raven himself is horse that croaks in the fatal entrance of Duncan under my battlements. Come, you spirits that tend on mortal thoughts and sex me here. No, it did not work. I could not embody the text. Something was missing. It was a complete failure. Un completo fracaso. No podía actuar en inglés. I couldn't perform in English. Using my master's technique, it did not make sense if I didn't have the language, la palabra. These texts were alien to me. I couldn't grasp them because it is different to say raven than to say cuervo. I did not see a cuervo when I said raven. I saw a cuervo when I said cuervo. When I said raven, I only heard sounds. Por lo tanto, en consecuencia, therefore, taking into consideration, can I get a bit light now, a bit more normal light? Good, thank you so much. I think that language is continuously transforming space. I do not know if I am transforming this space at this moment with what I say. Will I be transforming it? The question is, ¿puedo transformar el espacio con mi relato? Is my speech transforming a space? That depends on the place in which one is. I do not know what kind of place this is Martin E. Seagal Theaters. New York. New York is a territory full of places of passage, like parks, shops, banks, the Highland, MTA, Ranch, Five Guys, Broadway, Ticketiers.
Shake.
What?
Shake.
Shake Shack,
Yep.
where we have lunch.
And I have another one. CUNY.
CUNY. The educational passage. So, but if we remove all these places of passage, those non-places, how many places would we have left? How many places where we appear, where we emerge as identities? How many of those places would we have? Having no place, being abroad and having no place, I understood that I could generate different spaces with my language. Words as territory, but. Como territorio sonoro, as a sonic territory. So the main problematic that brings us today is the following. All those who speak the same language recognize that they belong to the same space. I propose that a space is generated by words, palabras, words, and sounds.
Yeah. Sorry.
Words hurt me bad.
What?
Hazme daño. Hurt me with your words.
Oh no, it's difficult.
No, but hurt me. Hurt me with your words.
Okay. 책을 왜 던져요? 제가 책 빌린다고 했죠? 책 위치 알려달라고 했죠? 근데 왜 나한테 던져? 당신이 이렇게만 하면 내가 영어를 못하니까 아시아 사람이니까 그냥 그렇게 화내면 내 집에 돌아갈 것 같아? 내가 그렇게 당신 욕할 만한 그렇게 내가 그렇게 막대도 대하는 사람이야? 어? 그렇게 하면 안 되지. 나도 사람이야. 왜 나한테 화를 내고 지랄이야! 미쳤어? 또라이야? 정신병자야? 그럼 병원 가서 치료를 받아야지. 당신 같은 사람 죽어야 돼. 아니지. 죽으면 안 되지. 평생 동안 못날 병에 걸려가지고 죽을 동안 계속 아프면서 살아야지. 그러면서 나쁜 거 다 보고 미친년처럼 정신 나간 사람처럼 평생 그러면 살아. 알겠어? 미친년아? 난 네가 죽지 않고 평생 동안 고통받으면서 살았으면 좋겠어. 아니, 정신병자니까 너는 병원 가서 치료나 받아. 아니, 병원 가서 치료받으라고. 이 정신병자야. 미친년이네. 정신병자 병원 가서 치료받으라고. 아니, 정신병자야. 병원 가서 치료를 받으세요. 정신병자잖아, 그쵸? 그러니까 병원 가서 치료받으시라고요. 치료받아요. 머리가 아픈 것 같아. 그러니까 병원 가서 치료를 받으세요.
Ruso se le puso Hans, en el futuro indio ya venía pozo.
정신병자잖아, 그치? 그럼 병원에 가야 될 것 같아.
Hay varias formas de amar a un hijo.
Hay varias formas de amor ao rio.
Hay varias formas de amar a un hijo.
varias formas parimas de amor a un hijo.
Hay varias formas de amar a un hijo.
Hay varias formas varias de amor a un hijo.
El mío fue amor de India.
El mío de amor en India.
El mío fue amor mestizo.
El mío amor el mío mestizo.
Me dicen mala madre y yo digo que mala madre es la que se escribe muy bien.
Miro a la madre, miro a la madre, a la madre, a la madre.
Nadie insulta a Yocasta que terminó follándose a su hijo.
Más lo nato, lo manonito.
Parió al maldito chino que inventó la prueba.
Le sala con un nino, de la mano chino, la mano chino.
Thank you, Patrick.
My pleasure!
Es community.
Yeah,
Community. ¿Ya? Community. Claro. In coexistence and intimacy, a territory is shared and defined by those who are capable of reasoning together with all those whose vocabulary and argumentation build a community. But what is community and which is this community? And how is it that language generates community and therefore discourse and the sublime? That's the question, and the question is open for you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Professor AGNETHA KURTZ ROCA. The question you asked me is very interesting. So now let's open the dialogue with, the public, with the community. So let's start with our Q&A, questions and answers. So just do not be shy. If you have any questions, just, raise your hand. Okay? So who there? Yeah.
How many countries have you been to? Yeah. How many countries have you been to?
It's okay. In minutes like that, I was in Iran, in Seoul, and then I was like, whoa, oh, no, and it's all worse.
20. So next, who there? Yeah.
How did you get a sense of what he was saying in his own language? Did something happen to your body in any way?
Yeah, it's a high and a bird in unity, right? And it's ocean and a board, right? I was on in its oinkin and or. Is the or. In N. Right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So the desire to communicate with your language is coming from the ocean. The ocean is basically is founded, foundation to speak any language. So I think that it will be correct, right?
Yeah.
Yep. So there. Okay. Next.
My question is, how does this work in romantic relationships?
Senora say or, right? And we're like, oh no, I all that, right? But all the hand, I'm like, whoa, right?
Yeah.
And
body, gesture and space, and linguistic space. That's the point.
Please, there.
你好，这样子的，我想问一下，就是看来你的父母都是来自不同的国家，然后你自己也去到了很多地方。那我想说，对于你来讲，最困难的是什么？进入到一个全新的一个群体，就除了语言之外，谢谢。
Exactly. This is like a home. Yeah? Would I ever have? It's in the hair? But it's haunted, in pockness, the latrine, but in essentially in a boron. And won't say. Right?
Okay. 이 말하고자 하는 욕망에 대해서는 이제 규정을 할 수가 없어요. 그거는 뭐 욕망이잖아요. 자체가 이제 물질적인 게 아니고 굉장히 만질 수가 없는 거기 때문에 이제 뭐라고 규정하기는 어렵지만 이제 대화하는 데 있어서 가장 중요한 건 마음하고 그리고 대화를 하기 위한 사람들하고 또 그리고 가고자 하는 목표점이 있겠죠. 그런 게 어떻게 보면 그 언어를 하고자 하는 그러한 궁극적인 목적이라고 생각을 해요. 그게 어떻게 보면 욕망, 언어를 말하고자 하는 욕망이 되지 않을까. 이게 제대로 답변이 좀 됐으면 좋겠네요. Alright?
Yeah. We have one more? Or? Please.
Vorrei sapere per quale motivo, in parole povere, perché io sto qui?
Yeah, no. Vabbè, no.
No, ma in parole povere.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So I think that it's time to.
Okay, is this the end?
Yeah.
Okay.
Kind of. So.
Okay.
Thank you for all your questions, and we consider that important debate was very open today, and we hope to keep the questions both inside and outside the fields of art. Many thanks to our guest, AGNETHA KURTZ ROCA, for being here with us today. You are invited to the upcoming events of, this outstanding artist. So. Thanks to the Martini Cigar Theater Center and to you for sharing this amazing experience with us. So it has been a unique one as always. So thank you. Thank you.
The discussion, Anna and Fabian, and yeah. And I'm also curious how this will continue.
Thank you. Okay, thank you for being here, all of you. I have been asked to introduce you Ana Luz, which is the playwright. She's a Chilean director. Also Amelia and SeungHyun, actors, as you have seen, and also they co-directed the play. So we're gonna have like 2 or 3 questions, and then we wanna open again the questions. So thank you for being here. I know you came all the way from Chile, and you also come all the way from Korea to be here today. So we are so happy to having you, all of you here. If I will guess that my first question will be for Ana Luz. How did you came with the idea of doing this play? What do you want to address in the play? What are the topics that you want to talk about?
Well, I started this project while I was doing a master at London in a university, and I saw all my teachers, women teachers, like always having to reaffirm that they were intelligent. I understood that how do you say machismo in English? Chauvinism? In the academy, it was very strong. So this was a symptom of, they were great females. They didn't want, but it was a symptom of this state of the academy. So I was looking at a teacher, very specific, and she was my inspiration to develop this monologue. Not monologue, but this conference. I thought that the conference as a context was the perfect space for me to develop a performative dramaturgy where many languages could be part of. As a foreigner in London, I heard like many languages all day walking through the streets. So I thought that the musicality of language was a very interesting topic or notion to address. The body of the words instead of the meaning of the words, and how through this musicality we could create sense, but a rhizomatic sense, very open and not closed. So that was what I was trying to do as a strategy of the dramaturgy and all of the staging, because I was directing and writing this. All this in collaboration with the Samantha Mansour, that was the actress, Yunfei Shen was Patrick, and later Manoj Matai. They always improvised, so we were creating this together. But this was based on my thesis that was called Musicality of Language as a Process of Becoming. So I thought that through the words we could maybe try to analyze existence, like existing through words, but words that were a little bit fractured. That's why a conference for me was a perfect space to develop it.
How was your take on in the text when you received the text, when you start reading through the pages? How was your take on the play? How do you get it?
Well, I mean, I relate to the things that Anna is saying, but reading the text, those are the things I saw in the, for example, little part of where I'm lying on the floor and I'm talking about what it means to be kind of reduced because of your nationality. I think that that's something I have experienced as a Chilean living abroad, and how our complexities get a bit reduced by very little signifiers, by our accents, and by what people imagine that our life is like in a place that's far away. I could really relate to that. And I also liked this play with deconstructing language as a material that is not so much what we are saying, but how you are sort of working with it as like construction blocks or something, and how you say them. And this I could relate to also because of the work I do personally. I don't know, what about you?
Basically, oh my God. Basically, when I got and read the script first time, I really didn't understand because there are a lot of Spanish, and I asked my friend, who is an American, but she also speaks Spanish, and she translated from Spanish to English, and I read again the script, but it did not help me to understand the script, you know. It's pretty awkward, but you know, when I have had rehearsal with her, I started gradually, you know, understand what the playwright means. So yeah, my thought about this script is that the language, each language which are already formed, is just method, is just key, you know, to communicate. We don't need, we don't have to just follow each language to communicate, you know. I think that more important things to communicate is that, you know, just you know, I don't know the word, but the heart things, I think is more important. Yeah.
I know this play has been performed several times with other cast and have had several iterations and renditions. I guess for my question for you, Ana Luz, is how the audiences, the different audiences in Europe, in Latin America, and now here, how have they reacted to the play?
For me, it was very important living in London to do something with Spanish. It was like my own little revolution. I didn't want to surrender to English, as Agnetha says. But I love English. So it was like subverting from the inside, like being there and from the inside trying to change something. So when we premiered it there, the Q&A was in fake English, like the phonetics. And all the English people thought that she was saying something, and for a minute they were like, because they're so polite, they were like, yeah. And then they started noticing that it was nothing. So it was very awkward for them. And then they relaxed and they started laughing. And then when we came back to Chile, we developed the part where she asks herself why coming back to Chile. So we started developing the part where we criticize the Chilean's art system. So we started. It was like the same experience that we had, like why coming back, why leaving. Like those questions happened in the same chapters, like when we did it there, then when we came back to Chile. And in Chile, it also happened that we did it in English with subtitles and sometimes no, and people got mad sometimes. They say like, I don't understand this. This is very snob. It had great reviews, but that was sometimes, and it was interesting because we were trying to defend the point that we don't need the language, or the language is flexible. So we were in all the contexts, we were trying to be a little bit pesados, or how do you say it in English? Obnoxious. Because if we didn't do that, it didn't have the effect that we were asking. So it has been very interesting because every time people want to participate, every time people raise their hands at the end, we don't have to ask. I asked Fabian, like, you have to raise your hand. I said, now. And people started and was like, yes. Yeah, it happens. People want to perform also. They enjoy this open scene, this open staging. So that's also another edge of the play, that people want to participate. They want to perform, they want to act. Sometimes people ask questions and they start creating some characters, like I'm the princess of, and I want to know. And that's also very interesting. So, yes, that.
And for you guys, and this is my last question, and then I want to ask you if you have any comments or question. Why do you think this piece could be like in dialogue with New York or with the US, or in a broader sense?
I mean, maybe the more obvious answer is, the variety of languages and diversity present in New York. But I agree with Anna in the sense that the play could travel along to places that are more isolated in terms of language variety and diversity. I think that in New York we are constantly, I am, as a person who speaks two languages, constantly thinking about language and English. Like, the more I stay here, the more I think in English or write in English now, and all of these things. Like, it is really, as you said, kind of flexible language. Yeah, I like also how we can hear words that we don't understand, but somehow we understand. Yeah.
New York is a territorial MTA.
The passage.
Okay, so I guess how long? Okay, great. So, do you want to ask something? Do you have any question for the director, the actors?
No, we are recording it.
Oh, you are?
Streaming.
I was once asked in which language I dream, so I just wanted to ask you guys, like, in which language you dream.
Spanish. But when I was living in London, in English, but a very, very bad English.
You needed a translator the next morning. I dream now in both Spanish and English, depending on who's in the dream.
I don't think about this, but heart without language, just I think yeah, Spanish. Why not?
Is there any other question?
I'll ask you a question. How much of the play is actually written on paper, and how much of it is improvised and made up on the spot?
All the conference is written, and it came out of improvisation, like a method. And then the Q&A is improvisation, but we have built a lot of strategies around the possible questions. And we, as a company, my company is called Anti-Method, Anti-Method, it would be in English. Yeah, and this is from this company. And we always think of theater as a practice, not as an object, or when you say the show is done. So we practice, and we practice the answers. And I think the improvisation and the translation is a practice. So this is not like when we do it with the company, it's like a practice that is done. So we rehearse the practice. So the liveness and the presence is something that is worked. It's not only being spontaneous, you know? It has a solid floor, I think. But yeah, it's there's a lot of moments where, and depends on the performer, which moments she wants to take and maybe develop something else. I think it's very open, the text.
Non, moi c'est stable et puis moi venir à Dominique et puis là moi aller à office demander pour faire quelque chose, mon camarade me ça qui non moi là me dit ça là me dit ça qui non moi yo camarade me pour spell là me spell les bayo yo ka dit me c'est pas comme ça pour yo ka spell et puis ça quoi tout.
Gracias, muchas gracias.
I agree completely. Yeah.
Well, but thank you for participating, because that we could be for an hour playing like that, and maybe we could start understanding each other. That's the main idea behind this. So, muchas gracias por tus palabras.
Before I ask you to tell me, because I didn't
One second,
understand.
we are recording.
That's
So.
it. So the problem. Yes, before I asked in Italian, I asked to repeat in simple words what was the message that you are giving to me. Because I really didn't understand anything, because you give me too many things. And open space, I can think anything, means nothing. So that's the thing. What do you want to transmit me? Disorientation. I don't understand. You say that I can, without words, I can even understand if I don't understand the words. You said that. I say the other way. I don't understand anything. I can understand everything what I think, what is my interest to understand, not what you want to tell me. So means the other way. So I don't know. So tell me what you want to tell me.
I don't want to tell you anything.
Oh, that's the point. You don't want to tell me anything.
Because I don't believe theater wants to tell something. My perspective. I know many. I don't believe in the message. I don't believe theater is a channel of communication, because when we think in communication like that, the channel is transparent, and I think theater is the channel, like it is the message. So this doing a show in many languages in a city that doesn't understand that, or maybe that those languages are minority, is the message, is the idea. It's performative because that's a gesture. By doing that, that's a gesture. And I see theater or performance through that place. And sometimes it's difficult and it's not clear, because for me, I pay attention to the actions more than the words. And a gesture of coming here and not translating everything, for me, is a gesture. And I couldn't, when they invited me here, I was very thrilled, but I knew that I couldn't ask for an American actress to do it, because it made no sense, like, for her to be part of the context with her language. They had to be foreigners. I know it was difficult, and it was a very difficult gesture, because sometimes you don't understand, but that was the idea. I think that, well, and this text was written while we were staging it. This text, I've never given it to anyone to stage it, because this text was written through the process. So I think that when I wrote the text for this festival, I saw it and it was like, this is very weird. But I think they understood it's possible. I think it worked. I think clearly we could rehearse more. There are details. The text needs. No, but when a dramaturg writes, they think about time, about in this moment she says it this way, you know? But I think it worked fantastic because the gesture was very clear.
In a way, for me, there is a message. The message for me is you don't have to understand everything, and behind this is also you don't have to have always the power about everything, maybe. Somehow like this.
Thank you.
Thank you, Angelica.
I think we can get a couple of more questions. Huh? Yeah. One more question? Okay. Okay, so. Okay. Thank you everyone for being here.
Thank you.
Thank you.